I know that most expensive watch you personally sold is $600,000-$700,000.
Yes, that's correct. That I can talk about.
That you can talk about, yes.
I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a surgeon or am I going to go full balls to the wall with this? I think it is kind of a representation of who you are as a person. And I think the watch brand that you wear represents who you are.
This is the second time we're doing this podcast.
It is.
And unfortunately, the first time we have done it, nobody will ever watch it. And people will, might think to themselves, why we can't watch it? What's so special about it? But the special thing about it is...
The secret to make $1 million in 5 minutes.
Yeah. The thing about that podcast, we were speaking for 45 minutes and then I looked to my left and I realized I didn't press record. So we went 45 minutes, we were so into the podcast and I looked left, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I forgot to press record. Anyway, I've got a special guest here in my office with $1 million worth of watches in front of us. And this is one gentleman and one company that I highly recommend if anybody wants to buy any kind of high-end luxury watches. Obviously, most people, you can't go to Rolex and buy a watch. You can't go Patek Philippe. You can't really go to any shop and just buy anything off the shelf. The wait list could be 1 to forever, 10 years to wait to get any watch. So only way people can really buy a watch is from the watch dealers like yourself. Unfortunately, in your industry, just like there are bad people in every industry, there's a lot of people that don't have good credibility when it comes to selling or buying watches. You do have a great reputation. A lot of my friends do buy watches from you. And I'm definitely say that I can recommend your service to anybody that wants to buy or sell a watch, if I'm not wrong. And so thank you so much for being here. You came all the way from Melbourne. There will be a link here so people can see, your company. But most importantly, I don't know where to start because right in front of me, there are some freaking amazing watches. So I almost want to straight away jump into what you have in front of me. And then I can get you, I can show you my collection as well. And but thank you for being here, man. Who is sitting in front of me? Tell the audience, who is behind the business?
So firstly, thank you for those very, very kind words. I couldn't have written a better synopsis myself.
Truth.
It's very kind. Yes,
if I don't think you have a great credibility, I wouldn't want to have you here because after this conversation, people, could be calling you to buy a watch. And if you don't do the right thing by them, it'll be not good.
Absolutely. And I understand you've got a very good reputation, both across real estate and all your companies and people who look up to you. So it means a lot coming from you. So thank you for that. So my name's Shaun Anthony. I'm from Melbourne. I'm 28. And I am one of the co-founders with my brother of the Smiling Second Luxury Watches. So we are both
and who the hell is older than you two?
So he's older. He's 2.5 years older.
Okay.
So yes, I'm the younger brother.
Yes.
And
both doctors.
Yes.
Saying, you know what? Thank you for studying 7-8 years to become a doctor. We want to go and have fun with watches.
Yes. Well, you're a business owner and you have been for a long time. I think there's working on your own business and, just determining your own destiny and moving as fast of a pace as you can yourself.
Yes.
And you're not limited by anything else is unbeatable feeling.
And what would you say is the hardest part of running your business? Because you only started this a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So we've been in business for about coming up to 4 years.
4 years.
So went to 0 to 100 pretty fast and we're kind of taking as much market share as possible. I think the hardest thing
and you've sold about $10+ million worth of watches.
So yeah, we do, more than $10 million a year. In watches. And hopefully this, I'm not going to say specifics, but we do pretty good volume and one of the bigger volumes in Australia.
Yes.
So yeah, we're always growing and we're trying to do better. The hardest part has got to be being in charge and on top of and being an expert in everything.
Of course.
Right?
And
so
nobody
in charge of content and kind of financials, marketing, the knowledge of the watches, polishing, servicing.
But see, in your industry, you can be a great salesman, but you really know your product. And you're so passionate when you talk about, I've been talking to you today for a couple of hours about the watches. You know deep down, every detail of every watch of the company, and you're so passionate about it. I feel like you want to buy your own watch.
Well, I do. And every day when we have watches, this whole tray table here, I never want to sell a watch because I like them all.
Well, what's right in front of me?
Yes.
There's literally 700, and what I have calculated, approximately $750,000 worth of watches. And I'll show you my collection in a second.
Yeah.
But I cannot help straight away. I know I'm supposed to be going in some kind of order, but I am drawn to this Patek Philippe.
So the watch that you've got in front of you there is a Patek Philippe Nautilus. It's a travel time chronograph. So it tells multiple time zones as well as is a stopwatch. So this watch is around the 200K price point, called a 5990/1A reference. And it's got that beautiful blue dial. Now, interesting story behind this watch, because I know that you are potentially interested in it.
I wanted to buy it today, literally.
So this watch has an issue.
Yes.
So I bought this watch in November,
Which is so
December
honest.
last year. Yeah, I bought it, and there was an issue. Not, it's all authentic, everything's fine. Yes. But Patek Philippe, every so often, there's an issue here and there.
Yes.
And this had a similar issue. The hour hand got stuck at 11 o'clock. And unfortunately, fortunately, whatever the situation is, I gave the client a refund, took the watch back, and I'm going to give it to Patek Philippe to service it themselves.
Which many people, because all of these watches are, you're kind of aftermarket king, right?
Yes.
And they, a lot of them, or most of them are new watches. So people that buy it from you, you don't have to give them a refund.
No.
But you do. You did, to keep customer happy. And then you're dealing with the issue with Patek Philippe, which I'm sure they're going to fix, and you get a new watch again.
Yeah. So I'll still be able to sell it. No worries. This is a watch that, we sell a lot of, but I'm going to lose more than $20,000 on this specific watch.
So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you can still lose money.
Yeah. I thought I knew everything, and I always think, I don't think that I know everything, but, our business has been refined by problem after problem after problem. Every time there's a problem, we figure out what the issue was, how we can fix it. And this is just something that is unavoidable.
But beautiful watch. So this is about $200,000 watch.
Yeah, about that. And
Love
it's about,
this watch.
Almost close to double the retail price.
Now, second watch that you cannot pass without standing out. This Rolex. What have we got here?
So that is the rose gold Day with the white Roman numeral dial. And that watch is a brand new watch, and it is retailing for around the low 70s. And we are selling it for 65. So below retail Rolex. It's not something that, you can just go in and get.
It's a beautiful watch.
Yeah, so it works really well. I prefer rose gold on my own complexion. But I know from a sneak peek, maybe from the first recording, that you've got a lot of yellow gold watches. But no, this works really well. And it's one of, it's a very popular watch, but the dial on it is not the most popular. That would be the green 60th anniversary dial. So great watch, about the 65K price point.
Beautiful watch. Now, I hope you don't mind me picking the order. There's something very special here.
Yes.
This here is, correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere close to $400,000 watch.
That is correct.
FP Jean. And tell us about this watch, because this I have never seen before.
So this is an FP Jean, which is he's an independent watchmaker. He makes about 1,000 watches a year, and he is an absolute favorite of top end collectors. So Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank stands by FP Jean, loves his watches, and you'll find so many videos online about him just ranting and raving about how good they are. So this specific one is called the Chronomètre Resonance, which essentially is two watches in one, tells two time zones. It's got two essentially movements that work together, and they resonate together, the balance wheels, to keep the timekeeping more accurate. Yes. It's a lot of work, a lot of money to just make the watch that little bit more accurate.
And the thing is, you actually got another one on your wrist.
I do. So this one is worth about a fifth of the price.
Yes.
And this is actually a battery-powered watch. So this is the FP Jean Elegante, the 48 in titanium with a Titanite coating. And this is a battery-powered watch. But unlike most other watches, the battery on this will last a very long time. And that's because if you take it off for about 35 minutes, that motion detector at the 4 o'clock position stops it working. And then if you pick it up at any point in the next 20 years, the watch will still tell that exact same time and the hands just snap back to position. So that's really, really cool. And
It's a beautiful watch. It's just really elegant, not too loud in your face.
elegant, exactly right.
But,
Elegante.
quite often I say, when it comes to, we were speaking before about Richard Mille, that just stands out. You can't say, I didn't see what watch you're wearing is like in your face. This is elegant, classy. I would wear this.
So this one is something that I would say it's an if you know, you know.
Yes.
Right? So the only person who's going to come up to you and say nice watch is that person knows something.
Yeah.
Right?
They know watches.
Yeah. So a Rolex, everyone knows you're wearing a Rolex. They'll be like, okay, nice watch. You're like, okay, well, please don't steal it off me. If someone knows what an Elegante is or a Shaun, you're pretty safe. They're like a watch diehard fanatic. You're pretty safe.
Yeah, it's a beautiful watch. It's a beautiful watch.
So great watch. And these are also super hard to get. And, there's wait lists and wait lists and wait lists.
Now, another special watch here.
Yes. So this one, Audemars Piguet. So this is the holy trinity of watches. This is the watch, kind of the royal oak that kind of set off mechanical watches in 1972. Gerald Junta, the godfather of watches, designed this as well as the Nautilus. And this one is limited edition, so 450 pieces from the year 2000.
It's just such a classy AP.
Beautiful watch. So yes, this watch you won't see anywhere else. If you're walking into a room, no one's going to have it. So if you meet an AP collector and they see this, their jaw will drop.
Which
they
is
don't make stuff
interesting.
like this anymore.
You just came for a quick visit from Melbourne, and right here in front of me, you literally got $750,000 worth of watches. It's amazing. Look, to be honest, I have few Rolexes. I got 5. And they are beautiful watches, but this Patek Philippe, it's just so classy, so elegant. It's not too in your face, but like that's a beautiful watch.
Absolutely.
So I will be buying this, and I will be buying this, obviously gold, which we discussed, which I was 4 days late to have ability to buy another beautiful Patek Philippe from you, but you snooze, you lose, what they would say.
It's all right. We get them in pretty frequently, which is the benefit of our business. We get to see beautiful stuff all the time, so it shouldn't be too long of a wait.
Well, I'm going to show you now. I think this opens up. I'm going to show you my little collection of
Oh, there you go.
watches.
Look. So the last time we recorded this, Emil was putting his watches on the table and I have a mini fit. The clasps are getting scratched up.
So he was really not happy with me, what I was doing. So I'm going to start with my first watch. I got this as a gift. So tell us what do you think of this watch?
So this is a Rolex Datejust 41. So it's got the smooth bezel and the oyster bracelet, kind of the lowest end Datejust that they come, or the cheapest, but by no means, it's a great watch. I think this is a great entry level watch for someone, and it's kind of something that you can wear anywhere. Being steel, it's super hardy, and I think it's a great watch, and it's got a great story with it as well.
That's the first watch I got as a gift from Giselle. So there's no money, this could be worth $10 million. I can never sell this watch. It's got a lot of meaning. Yeah. So that's one of my watches. I believe I wear this watch, maybe because I got a few other watches that I like. But I should wear it more. It's just a friendly watch. And but second watch that I have.
Firstly, price wise on this, I assume this one was bought for maybe 10K back then. And the price is pretty similar. So it's a
$10,000 watch.
Yeah, about 10,000. Now the retail's about 12.
This is the second watch I purchased.
So this is the Rolex Sky Dweller in yellow gold with the Oyster Flex bracelet. And it's got the champagne dial. So this is the most complicated Rolex they make, which has got the calendar function in it. And yeah, great watch. And it's under retail at the moment.
I tell you the story how I purchased this watch. I was having a lunch with Giselle, and I saw another beautiful gentleman, another watch dealer. It doesn't sell many watches these days, and I saw it on his Instagram, And I sent him a text and I said, is this watch for sale? He said, yes. Is it brand new? He said, yes. And I said, how much is it? And I think he said 65,000. And I said, you know what? I'll go and buy it. And 45 minutes later, I spent $65,000 on this watch. So it was a quick decision, expensive lunch. I do like this watch.
Yeah. So we mentioned that I think you bought this about 3-4 years ago.
Around 3 years ago or so.
Kind of close to the peak of the market. So much like property and stocks and, crypto, everything was really big in 2020, 2021. We saw some peak pricing.
Yes.
And so unfortunately, this watch you will have lost money since you bought it.
So
but the retail price is about 70s.
So if retail is about $70,000. That's okay. It's a beautiful watch. Definitely enjoy wearing this watch. Third watch that I purchased.
I love this one.
I really love this watch.
So this is the Rolex Daytona in yellow gold with the Paul Newman dial and the Oyster Flex strap. So Paul Newman and Daytonas are synonymous. One of the most expensive Rolexes, if not the most expensive Rolex ever, was the Paul Newman Daytona, and it auctioned off for, I believe, over $10 million. But this dial is kind of reminiscent of that, and that's why they call it the Paul Newman dial. And it's got that really nice red hour hand, and something like this currently is worth, mid-50s, and still probably above retail and definitely above what you paid for it. Great watch. This is actually the watch that you were wearing when we met.
Yes.
So you were introduced by one of my clients, one of your good friends, down at the Lamborghini dinner at the F1 in Melbourne last year.
I love this watch.
So that is the perfect occasion for wearing this watch.
Love this Rolex. So the next Rolex I'm going to show you this is a gift from my godson. My very, very close friend, Josh Tesselin. His son was getting christened, and his son is named after me. And I was a godfather to little Emilio, and my little godson got me this as a gift. So to me, this is the most valuable watch.
Wow. So this is the Rolex GMT Master 2, the Sprite, and this is the lefty or a destro watch, which is essentially where the crown is on the other side compared to the rest of the GMT series. And this watch really came out of the gate strong. It was worth $45,000 upon release, but that's settled down into the 20s now. So, that's what you can get for it. But it is a really great watch, and it's perfect for telling time when traveling because you can tell multiple time zone, much like you can with the FP Journe. So great watch. And obviously the value doesn't really matter on this one because it's never going anywhere, but beautiful watch.
I really like that.
Really sporty.
Now, this is the boss.
The big daddy. So this is the Rolex Day-Date 40 with the black baguette diamond dial. So 10 baguette diamonds on there, which is factory set. So this watch is, one of the best configurations out there for the yellow gold. Super desired. You can't just walk into the boutique and get it. And this is kind of pegging relatively even with market at the moment, even though you bought it last year. But, the Rolex prices go up every year and sometimes multiple times a year. So, yeah, beautiful watch, and you're very lucky to have it, I think.
I like in my collection. But the only thing is we get greedy. I got 5 Rolexes. I don't have much other. I feel like I need a lot more. Combining them, having 9, 10 watches is much better. But the thing about Rolexes or any watches, once you start collecting them, it just doesn't stop. Because, on this watch I can wear it if I go for a cruise on Sunday. This watch I can wear it if I go for dinner. So it's kind of once you, I don't know how can people become collectors? What attracts any man or woman to become a watch collector?
So I think watch collecting historically and to this day is a predominantly, male sport. Men can't really but don't really wear all that much jewelry. So men don't have handbags. They don't really have too many of those, red bottom shoes and,
Some men do.
Yeah. Some men do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, they don't really spend that much on all these other things.
Yeah, but we're very good at wasting money on cars. And,
yes, cars, watches.
Yes, I'm a sucker for both.
So I think it is kind of a representation of who you are as a person. And I think
Yes.
the watch brand that you wear represents who you are. So, you know,
Yes.
if you're a young guy who's, you know, flexing on Instagram and doing all this kind of stuff or rapping, then you will get an iced out Rolex that is
Yes.
aftermarket set. It looks like it's $100,000, but it's actually worth 20.
Yes.
You know, that is a representation of who they are, right?
Yes, yes,
Fake it till you make it kind of vibes.
Yes.
You know, once you start moving into a Patek or a FP Journe, people really know what's going on the wrist. So, you know, if you go to a business meeting or to a dinner and you're wearing this watch and someone there knows about watches, well, you're already halfway in the door, right?
Yes.
You're best friends with them. They want to talk about this watch. They want to try it on. They want to take photos with it.
And people that are into the watches, they can like freaking talk about it for 10 hours.
Well, we've been talking about watches all day here.
On the second podcast too, and we're still talking about it.
That's it.
Interesting. You know, when it comes to watches, do you wear nice watches? Do you check your time on your mobile phone or on your watch?
So it depends. If I'm wearing something like this, where I know that the time is always going to be correct, I'll check it here. But most of the time, my watches aren't set correctly.
Well, I can tell you right now is what's the time now?
It's currently 4:40.
4:40. On one of my watches, time is 9:35. My second Rolex, time is 8:25. My third Rolex, time is 12 o'clock. My fourth Rolex, time is 5 minutes to 4. And my fifth Rolex is 20 to 12. So all 5 Rolexes I have, there's the wrong time there.
Which is okay. I think also sometimes, you know, having a watch on your wrist and not knowing what the time is, it means that like you're not marching to the beat of anyone else's drum.
No.
You know, you've got nowhere to be. You're the master of your own destiny.
I run
Exactly.
my own time. What is your favorite watch? We discussed this in our first podcast.
Yeah, I think it depends on brand. And, you know, from Patek, for example, I love the Aquanaut. I've had one in the past. I've got one currently getting serviced at the moment. I love that watch. I think it's great and it suits my personality and what I do. It's really sporty and youthful. But I quite like Richard Mille as well, which is, you know, a bit of a controversial topic because not everyone likes Richard Mille.
I'm not a look, I respect, some people like Ferrari, some Lamborghini, I like freaking both. It's just not me. Like to me, I'm gonna pick on this Patek Philippe.
That says you.
That is just elegant. It's classy. It's not too loud. It's respectful. It's still out there, but in just a silent way. You know what? I'm. It's like driving a Bentley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can still I do have a Bentley. I can still drive fast, but I'm just classy, cruisy. I feel like Richard Mille. If I can compare Richard Mille to car, I will literally pick a Lamborghini.
Yeah, it is.
It's like F everyone. I'm gonna run you all over.
100%. And you know, Richard Mille
And
is
this
super
year,
functional.
this year was like, you know, I don't have to be purple or orange to be good. I can just be.
For sure.
Am I comparing it to the right car?
I think you are. I think this is like a Rolls Royce or a Bentley.
Rolls Royce or Bentley. And interesting, Richard Mille, would you agree compared to Lamborghini?
Yes, I agree. I think also you can compare it to AP because, you know, it's not that comfortable.
I think also AP, I would say probably AP is more Bentley too.
Really?
Yes, because it's not in your face. Like Richard Mille, the colors, the shape, not so much the shape, the size of it, or, you know, the bigger one specifically, you can't miss it. It's like saying orange Lamborghini is like...
Well, I think it also aligns with it being sporty, right?
Yes.
So, like, obviously Lamborghinis are very, very sporty, but Richard Mille is made and, you know, their alignments with different people is super sporty. So Rafael Nadal, the whole point of it is that he can play tennis with it on. Alexis Pintolo, he can ski with it on.
Yes.
Johan Blake, he can sprint with it on.
Yes.
And all these other watches would get absolutely ruined by those kind of forces that you've got, right? Bubba Watson, it's a golfing watch, right? The amount of force that goes through the watch would scramble all of these.
And you know, talk of watches and comparing them to cars, FP Journe, you really just are being driven in one.
Yeah.
You're not even driving a car.
So it's a work of art, right? Like it's a true
So
true
it's like,
proper.
I can't even compare you to the car. It's like somebody just picks you up and drives you, whatever
Yeah.
the hell it is.
100%. I think, this is the top of the top of the top.
If you will compare Rolex to any car,
I almost
Rolex
want to
in
say
general.
Mercedes, right? So
Right.
it's, relatively, you see them around and there's levels to it as well, right?
and you can buy Mercedes for 50 grand and you can buy one for 2 million.
Exactly. So there's different levels to it. So I think personally, that's what I would compare Rolex to.
Yes.
You see them everywhere, really good branding,
Yes.
they're very aspirational. When people are starting out, they want to have a Mercedes,
Yes.
I think that would be my comparison.
What's your typical client?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the watch type. So we kind of focus on the ultra high-end market,
Yes.
right? Because we do lower volumes in terms of numbers of pieces,
Yes.
but higher price point. And
Yes.
we find that the people who are buying our watches are almost always business owners,
Yes.
right? So they are people who have typically started their own business,
Yes.
typically come from nothing and built it all themselves. And they're so super passionate about what they do in business and life that carries on into watch collecting. They're so passionate about it that they are willing to spend $500,000, $1 million, or have 10, 20, $50 million watch collections because that's just what they like.
I know you can't disclose who the people are. I know that most expensive watch you personally sold is $600,000-$700,000.
Yes, that's correct. That I can talk about.
That you can talk about. Yes. So it's questionable. Is that the most expensive watch that you actually sold? Have you ever met a watch collector or seen a watch collector that's got 20, 30, $40 million worth of watches?
Heaps. I've got a lot of them in my books. There are some serious watch collectors.
So me having 5 Rolexes and thinking of myself as a watch collector, am I just a freaking baby in making?
You are a watch collector.
So what do I have to own? Like 5 to say I'm a watch collector?
So I think even someone with one watch, when I bought my first Rolex, I thought I was a watch collector because I spent, $20,000 on one watch. And that is a lot of money.
And I bet you resold it already.
Yes, I sold that one.
But you're in a business.
Yeah, so essentially the first Rolex that I bought was a Submariner date, right? Beautiful watch, classic.
Beautiful watch.
I bought it from overseas when I was a first-year doctor in 2021. This is when the business kind of started. My brother knew a bit more
With all due respect, first-year doctor doesn't make much. So $20,000 to you then is like buying a Patek Philippe today.
But I had actually worked pretty hard throughout medical school because I'm not the kind of guy who likes to sit around. So I was working multiple jobs, and we might get into a bit later, but there was some tragedy in life and kind of taught me some stuff.
Yes.
So I was kind of saving as much as I could, working multiple jobs, going and studying at night for medical school and doing exams, all this kind of stuff. And I think it's the same with any business owner. They just like to, stay busy. So I saved it up, and this was all the money that I had pretty much to kind of go and spend and try to, at the time I thought I was going to make $500, and that was maybe sell 1 or 2 watches, and that was the end of it. Wear it for a bit and be like, wow, I'm so cool. I got to wear my dream watch. And move on. But then, 4 years later, I'm kind of not working as a doctor anymore, and we're doing the watches full time, and it's going pretty well.
So people that collect. So I know one watch collector. I won't mention his name. He's got a lot of cars, and I'm pretty sure if you know. And I got a feeling his watch collection is $50+ million.
Is it the same person that introduced us? Or
No.
is this someone else?
No, he owns online casino.
Oh yes.
And he's got private jets and 300-400 supercars and a lot of yachts, and his collection is just
incredible,
ridiculous,
absolutely incredible.
Like, is there anything valuable that you don't have?
Yeah, so I don't want to specify, but he sponsors. He's even got co-branding deals with some of these big brands. So he's got some stuff that, he's one of the first people to even get them in the world when they come out.
Yes.
So at that point, he could have everything. He actually doesn't have much FP Shaun. So he's very big into his hype stuff. So he's got all the best Rolexes.
Yes.
He's got all the best Nautiluses, but not that into his independence. So I think that's somewhere that maybe he might move into in the future.
Person introduced us, I won't mention his surname, Paul. He loves his watches.
He does.
He's introduced me even to watch dealer in New York. I'll tell you a funny story. So Paul introduced me to this watch dealer in New York. I wanted to buy gold Patek Philippe.
Yes.
And he said, you got to go and see this gentleman. So, okay, place in Manhattan. And I looked at the building. Building looks a little bit old, level 20. So it wasn't that, shop that you can just see from the window what they're selling. Level 25, I go there. As soon as the lift opens, there's a bodyguard. He literally searched if I got guns, knives, and so on. Then he let me through one special security door. And once I got through that door, there was a room, maybe 2 meters by 2 meters. I got, metal detector as well. Then they put me in the second room, and then they searched us again, Giselle and I. And then we walked into the office. An office was size of my office. I'm pretty sure I've seen $20 million worth of watches on a table.
Easy. Some of these guys are crazy overseas.
$20+ million. I've seen watches that are 500,000, million, 2 million. And I was like, holy shit. Level 25, little office, 4 or 5 bodyguards. And I was like, shit, am I going to get freaking kidnapped here? They're legit people. Obviously, this is a special $1, $2, $3 million watches, special pieces, which is crazy. And what out of 100% of buyers, would you say there's a percentage of people that buy Rolex just because they think one is gonna feed ego, other people gonna think that they're special? What is the percentage of people that buy it just so everybody can see that they're wearing Rolex or Patek Philippe or whatever the hell it is?
So I think a lot of people don't actually know that much about watches, and that's fine, right?
So they just buy whatever looks good.
They, or someone might say buy like a Submariner, right? So they'll go off and buy it, or one of their mates might have one. Is like, oh, well, I don't want to be outdone by him. Yes. I'm going to get something better. What's the more expensive one, right? That happens, and I think that's maybe we don't encounter them so much because of what we deal with. But I think that is a large part of the market. That I think maybe 30% of the Rolex market is people that really don't know about them, but they've said you need to have a Rolex, so they go off and buy a Rolex, and whatever, they're happy days. Then there's also the kind of people who want to pretend to be something that they're not, right? And those are the people who are wearing really blingy watches, but fake blingy watches.
And if you ask them what kind of watch it is, they wouldn't even have a clue what the hell they're wearing.
They'll just say Rolex.
Yes.
Right? If you ask them, is it a chronograph? Is it a perpetual calendar? What is it? They'll just be like, oh, it's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex. All right.
And they've made it. That was their goal, and that's fine.
You and your brother got into the business almost by accident. It wasn't planned, correct? Yeah. Tell me the story.
So essentially, the watch business kind of started with my brother. So he's 2.5 years older than me, and he was working as a doctor before me. Yes. So currently, he's a consultant physician in internal medicine, and he does perioperative stuff. And so essentially, he works a week a month in that currently, and the rest of the time in the business. Yes. And so he started buying really cheap watches. So like, a few $100s, a couple of $1,000s. And he noticed that with COVID that people were offering to buy the watches off him for more than he paid for it. So he enrolled me to take photos of 1 or 2 watches. And I did that, and that was fine. And then they ended up selling. And at that time, before I was working as a doctor, I was working in clinical unit assistant. I was working as a bartender. I was working.
So you did whatever you.
Yeah, I did everything, right? So,
which is interesting because you didn't have to. Most people, when they're studying.
Yes.
But you've had multiple jobs and still graduated.
I went to quite a good school, and I was also always good at uni. I spent 7 years at uni, and I was good at school. But kind of halfway through uni, my parents got separated.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it happens. And unfortunately, I don't really get on with my father anymore.
Yes. But his mum.
Yes, yes. So I didn't really get on with him because of some of his behaviors and what he was doing. So we were pretty much skin after that, right? So he had control of the finances. And so it was pretty tough on mum. So I was there for 100%. So was my brother. And, if you say taking sides, definitely took a side and moved with her and all that kind of stuff. So I understood that, from having semi-abundance to suddenly having pretty much, now I'm going to uni. I remember in my undergraduate, before I got into med school, I had to do a unit in Tasmania. And I went down there and I think the family paid for the flight, right? But at the time I hadn't been working, so I didn't have anything. So we used to go to McDonald's and we would go and, get some of the milk, some of the milk things, the sugars and stuff to mix in with the tea that we had. Someone was letting us stay with them while I was shadowing this cardiologist. So yeah, it was hard times. And from there, I realized that, I needed to work.
But if I can say this, I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 45. I'm glad you went through those tough times.
Yes.
I'm so happy for you. It sounds terrible when I say it.
I am too.
Because I tell you what, I had extremely tough childhood. 4 years, no food, clean water, electricity.
Mine was a cakewalk comparatively. So,
and a lot of people would use anything negative in the past to kind of predict and judge their future and use that as a sorry for myself. I can't succeed because I had a bad parent or whatever it is. Anything that happens to us, you gotta use it as a fuel to make yourself a better person,
Absolutely.
Stronger. You learn how to handle pressure when you have to go and ask somebody, can I sleep in your house because I can't afford a freaking hotel while I'm actually following to see what you're doing and so on. So everything happens for a reason, and you probably wouldn't be doing what you're doing now if you had a clean run.
Not at all.
Right now in front of me, you got $750,000 worth of watches, more than I do.
This is what we do though.
Yeah. But also, they are your watches, right?
Yes.
So, it's well done. It's amazing to see yourself and your brother do well. And you guys are so passionate and you're really taking this business to another level, because there are other competitors like every other business, but you guys know your product. You're so ethical. I mean, somebody bought a $200,000 watch from you and there was a small issue and, you said, okay, return it. I'll give you my money back. Who does that?
Yeah. So, that's the kind of the principle that and that's how the business grew. So, we kind of just started that and, one watch turned into another and we were making small money at the start. And this kind of kept going on while I was still working at the hospital.
Yes.
So then while I was at the hospital, I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, which is crazy hours. And at the same time...
And you wanted to work with blood.
Yes.
And have dead people and now let's sell nice watches.
It was great. But at the same time, I was still, I was studying, working, and then I was also helping my mum with her court case because we couldn't afford the best lawyers. So then I was, going and helping fight this thing at 3 a.m., writing affidavits and all this shit. Yes. Right? Whilst also selling the watches. And it just got to the point where we were selling these so much that, I was meeting people, I had to meet them at midnight at Macca's car park because I didn't have the time. And so about 2 years ago, I went full time into the watches, and then we opened our boutique, and we've slowly been steadily growing. Now we're on socials as well.
Yes.
And I know when I first met you, we weren't on there, and you've been a really big supporter of us.
Just get out there.
Yeah, putting our face on camera.
And also you explain I had a friend of mine today, Chris, and you were showing Chris and myself the watch collection that you got with you, and the way you explain it, I wanted to buy every single watch. You know your watches, you know the background, you know the story of each brand, and you can see you're passionate about it. It's not like, okay, it's my job, I have to tell you everything about the watch. Of course, that too, but you really are into the product that you're actually selling.
You are so into everything that you do, right? You're you're probably the most passionate person I see on every day on socials.
I love life.
So do I.
Today's the day that we never lived before. When this day is gone, we are one day closer to ultimate destination, which is us being freaking dead. Ultimate watch for yourself.
So I don't have an ultimate watch. I think my next watch is going to be an RM 6701 titanium. So it's a extra thin watch. I will have to wait for one to come up and then I'll nab it. But I think that's my next watch.
I almost can't let you take home this watch.
It's very nice, isn't it? Well, once it's serviced and comes back, we can chat about it if you're still interested.
100%. This and gold, I will probably buy both of them.
Yeah.
This is just so. It's just nothing screams. It's not too loud. It's just elegant, classy, beautiful watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nautilus and Aquanaut, both from Patek, are both
in your business. So there's few things you guys do. You do buy watches, so people might have a brand new watch that they picked up from Patek Philippe, Rolex AP, or whatever. So you can buy the watches from them.
So we bought all of these watches from just people who wanted to sell them.
Correct.
Had the watch and we stock them. So
Yes.
the difference between us and a lot of other people out there
Yes.
is I'm not going to grab your watches and say, this is my watch, it's for sale.
Yes.
Right? If it's here, on the rare occasion, we do consign stuff that's really weird and wonderful.
Yes.
But 99.9% of our business
You
is
buy a watch
buying.
and
You get the money today. I check the watch, make sure it's real. You get the money
Yes.
today. Right?
And then when it comes to, you don't just sell them. You also, clients like myself, I can tell you, you know what, this is the watch that I'm after.
Yes.
You guys literally go and hunt for the right watch
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, so we have to find the right watch. So our clients have got a lot of watches, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we have to convince people to let stuff go. If they've got a
Yes.
big collection, they want to size stuff down. And that's part of the thing. So we buy, we sell, we can source watches, and that's what we do. Now we're getting to socials being a bit more out there, and we're moving on to some other businesses as well.
Are you allowed to say?
So
yes?
I'm getting into property as well myself.
Good.
So some development. We're doing a project down in Melbourne,
Awesome.
a 4 townhouse subdivision,
Awesome.
which is going to be great. And that's our first proper property, kind of thing. And we are also starting up a mortgage brokerage down in Melbourne, specifically with a focus on medical personnel. So
Yes.
doctors,
So you're
nurses.
trying to get the niche.
Yeah, the niche, and they're the best clients for
Yes.
mortgages because they've got stable incomes.
Yes.
So that's coming up in about a month or two with one of our clients. We're doing a joint venture down there. So it's medical. We're super excited, and
I think anything you do, you are excited because you really give it all. You don't do just things for the sake of doing it. Looking back, being in watch business for 4 years, what is the hardest part about this business?
I think this business and the hardest part is very similar to a lot of businesses. So I think it's being everyone. At the start. And even now that we've got people who do different things, you met my videographer who does our videos and comes up with content. We've got people who do advertising. We've got people who do everything.
Yes.
But at the same time, I have to be the expert
Yes.
because if I don't know what I'm doing, I can't oversee and make sure that they're doing a good job.
Yes.
And that's all across the board.
Yes.
And I think at a certain level, running a business, you have to sacrifice stuff. So I'm 28.
I had a discussion today with 15 of my directors that are working with me, and I said, one of them is making over $2.4 million a year, and he knows how much he's losing family time. I said, anything we want to do, there's a sacrifice. There's a price to pay to get to where we want to get. So it doesn't. Nobody became extremely successful without paying the price.
Absolutely. And I think anyone
Including yourself.
Yeah, anyone who thinks that they can get there by doing half time, or if I was still I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a surgeon, or am I going to go full balls to the wall with this
Which
and
is
sacrifice?
a big decision because
7
you
years at
spent
uni.
7 years at uni.
2.5 years working as a doctor, doing being in theaters.
10 years.
It's a big sacrifice, but I think it's worth it. And now I'm pursuing my passion, which is entrepreneurship.
Yes.
At the moment, my friends are catching up. They're going to have a spa down in Melbourne
Yes.
in the weather. They're going to have a couple of drinks and all
you're in
this and
Melbourne.
that.
You're in Brisbane.
Well, this is actually the best part of the job, so I can't really complain. This is amazing.
But see, I tell you, being a little bit older than yourself, you are in unbelievable business because you meet so many different people. Talk of watch collectors, you probably met dozens or a lot of people that have 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 or 100 watches. And most people that can afford even my little collection, 5 Rolexes, they'll be running their own business. So then you're learning about different industries, new industries, different personalities. You're establishing a good relationship that you might use tomorrow. I have built my business on few things over the last 25 years. And one of them is, I always say, I'm a relationship builder. I'm a relationship builder. I got amazing people in my phone book that I can call for whatever I need. And so, including, watches, for example, relationship. You have built relationship with Paul. I asked Paul, do you recommend this young gentleman for me to buy or sell watches? And first thing he said, Emil is the best I've ever dealt with. And let's face it, Paul knows his watches better than I do.
He absolutely does.
And he's got a lot of watches, and he purchased his watches all around the world. And that's a big testament to your work as well. I look forward to buying watches from you. Unfortunately, not going to sell many of my watches because I've got no plans to sell any.
You don't need to.
So I'll be a buyer, and I'll be a definitely massive supporter of your business and your brother's business as well. And I hope you guys keep doing well. And what an interesting business to be in. One thing I want to add: a lot of people might see what you guys do, and they might think to themselves, "This is so much fun. Easy cruising. What's so bad about their job? They're selling watches." But I can tell you one thing. In front of me, you got $750,000. You have to sell them. You're going to make money. Or in this case, one of them, you're going to lose $20,000. So it's the business of, hey, yeah, I'm in a fun business because I'm selling beautiful watches, but I still got to make $1.
Well, that's what people don't see. And, as the market came down, as I said, you lost maybe the 10K of value in one of your watches.
Yes.
We made a bet, we speculated on Vacheron Constantin, which is a brand that you don't see here, the other brand in the Holy Trinity.
Is that the one that was blue?
Yes, the blue dial.
Didn't it have a moon or opera house or something?
So that was a piece unique from Vacheron, but they do, they're a big brand and they have lots of different watches.
But there's one that I've seen.
Yeah, so that was the Sydney piece unique.
Yes.
That brand, we bet on big because we thought that they were undervalued compared to Patek and AP.
Yes.
As the market went down, I've lost over $100,000 on that brand in holding their inventory. So everybody thinks they can be a watch dealer, right? Everyone thinks that they can buy a watch and do this and that, but no one is willing to stand there that day that you lose all this money and then the next day you still have to move on, right? I've still got one of those watches sitting in the office and I look at it every day when I open my watch box and that reminds me that, I've made a $50,000 loss on this watch.
Yes.
Right? And you still have to keep on going.
How do you learn if you don't sometimes make mistakes? Or, I always say, every business owner, you got to be slapped in your face a few times for you to, see what works, what doesn't.
And that's how we learn.
Yes.
Right?
Unfortunately, being in any business, every lesson, not cheap.
I'm happy that it was $100,000 then and not $1 million today. So now I've learned from that to, don't overcapitalize and don't over-concentrate in one specific thing because you never know what's going to happen.
Do you buy watches and get attached to them?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't sell this.
So this was bought from a client, was supposed to be for stock, and now it's not for sale because I love it. It happens a lot. We've got quite a few watches in our personal collection. And it just is what it is. It's part and parcel. We're kind of getting a bit high on our own supply, but as a watch dealer, you have to represent what you do. If I'm wearing a cool watch, then people are going to ask me about it, and it's great marketing. Like we bought an Aston Martin last year, V12 Vantage S, naturally
beautiful
aspirated.
car.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful. My friend Chris, he had that car a couple of years ago, and he absolutely loved it. And when he sold it, and he's got a few McLarens and Ferraris, and that's one car that he regret selling, that he didn't keep it for his future collection.
Yeah. So that kind of thing was a very tactical decision. Spending $250,000 on a car at our age is not, people are like, oh, you're showing off this and that. But no, we sponsor, I think probably the largest supercar club in Australia, right? With our watch brand. And we've met lots of people through that. So it was a strategic decision to spend this money on that car to then join this club and sponsor the club. Obviously, we love the car.
Well, to be honest, you can use some stuff that you do as a good opportunity. Like my first red Ferrari cost me, I don't know, $620,000. I probably made $10 million out of that car. Somebody said, what do you mean you made $10 million out of that car? I said, do you know how many people I met that I end up doing business with? And same with my Lamborghinis or Ferraris or whatever I have now, Porsches. You just meet amazing people, and naturally, if you're a good person, if you got a lot in common, naturally end up networking and doing business with them. That people you wouldn't know if you, like my business partner Sam and Bede, we met through cars. We bought the same car, we picked it up on the same day.
Was it the Aventador?
Yes, Aventador Ultimate. Mine is convertible, his is not. We met and we even have the same Regios, Ultimate, except mine is spelled UL, how you spell Ultimate, and he couldn't get L because I got it, so he's got UI that looks like L. And but you met, so you do meet people. I never buy cars so I can network, whatever. I'm a car sucker.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to sell me the car. I convince myself to buy cars or watches or whatever. But you do meet amazing people.
I think it's about being, looking into the future and not being short-sighted, not being short-term. It's all about long-term.
Are you coming to F1 in Melbourne?
I will be.
Which corporate box are you in?
I've still got to buy tickets. I'm thinking maybe Bull Rush.
Yes.
They seem to be pretty good. Otherwise, there's a couple of other things. I've got some other clients going, so we'll tee something up. But I definitely will be there.
I'll talk to you about it. I think I will see if we can get you tickets to Ferrari.
All right, let me know. It'd be good to get down.
And make sure you take a lot of watches, so we'll sell the freaking things. But thank you so much for being here. You definitely inspire me to buy more watches and learn more about watches. And looking at my collections, how would you rate my little collection out of 10?
So I would give you a solid 8 out of 10.
That's okay. That's not bad.
It's good. So I think you've got a lot of variety within one brand. The missing two is because they're Rolex. So
Yes.
I think it's high time. You've got brilliant watches. You've got the means
Yes.
as well to kind of expand a bit, explore AP, Patek, and some other brands, maybe even some independents. Okay, now you're stressing me out.
Now you're stressing out. I'm just going to show Cameron
Oh my God.
my collection.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's $250,000 of watches held in your hand right there. So
I didn't realize there's a freaking few dollars of watches here.
So yes, no, great collection. But I think maybe you've got a couple of other pieces to come.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pleasure having you in my home.
Thank you for having me.
I don't let many people in my home unless I like them. Home is I've built just a new home that means a lot to myself and my family here. And it's been a pleasure having you here. So I'm just thinking which watch I'm gonna buy from you. And this watch, I look forward to you getting it fixed or finding another one, because I'm definitely interested. And then it's so much good choice. But it's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be here, and your amazing hospitality in your home. What a house! If anyone ever has the opportunity to come here, definitely do, because it's beautiful.
I'll take you on the tour.
Yes,
before
let's do
you
it.
go, so.
We'll put it up on our YouTube channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.